Randy Berry, Special Envoy at the U.S. State Department, looking at human rights for LGBT persons. Nice to see you here at the Global Conference in LA.
Great to be here.
You have a relatively new position at the State Department. You have also seen that business can affect change in human rights. So tell us about your experience and what you are finding right now in terms of business cooperation.
Very early on in my tenure, I realized the unique opportunity we had to engage in a conversation with global business, because I think that a conversation on economic grounds, on investment climate, on business integrity, and diversity in the embrace of pro or inclusive LGBT policies can be very impactful in many countries where we have a greater challenge in engaging on a political basis. So I think the opportunity for business to influence real change is very significant.
We've actually seen some businesses protest some of the legislation that's been passed in the U.S. in just a handful of states. How do you use that as an example and a launching point, I guess, for a broader discussion? And that must be encouraging while you're trying to promote human rights abroad, where here in the U.S. you're seeing a retrenchment in at least some areas.
Well, when I have that discussion overseas, I do point to the U.S. Experience, because obviously we still have work to do on the inclusion and diversity front here. So that helps us engage not only on understanding that there's a process underway, but also explaining that businesses aren't engaging. They aren't engaging in these states out of any other concern except for what it will do to the business and investment climate. I think that's a very powerful message that government leaders who are seeking to grow their economies, to increase foreign direct investment, to see a more vibrant economic situation come around, need to be aware of that embracing diversity pays at the end of the day.
How difficult is it for some Americans working abroad who have faced discrimination in some countries? If you could share a story.
Sure. Well, I think it varies a great deal. That as I've had the chance to travel this last year in 42 different countries, oftentimes there's a business component to that. We understand that there's a major issue oftentimes for American citizens who are working for multinational companies in countries that pose a challenge. It poses a challenge to being able to be in a country with your family, for example, or to make sure that you have legal protections while you are while you're in a country. That's a persisting challenge.
Why did the State Department decide your role was crucial?
It was really out of a concern about levels of violence and discrimination against members of the LGBTI community in a broader global sense. That we'd been engaging in policy terms since 2011, but in early 2015, the Secretary made the decision to create this position to basically make sure that we're discussing these issues at a more senior level and more consistently.
So would you say you feel accomplished or frustrated in your job?
I am ever more hopeful. A year in, I have more to be hopeful for than I have to be frustrated about. That's not to say that there isn't some in both of those categories, but I'm hopeful that there is significant leadership that's being demonstrated from the private sector, from civil society, from some progressive governments around the world. But of course, we have to balance that off against the concern about deteriorating conditions that we see for our brothers and sisters in many different countries around the world.
Randy Berry, it's been great chatting with you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.